Bike with MAB podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Fontaine. Join me as I chat with vibrant radio hosts, intriguing television personalities, and the brilliant minds behind TV and radio stations in our broadcast community. Today, I am with marketing professional Dell Adams for a conversation about purpose, storytelling, and the power of connecting people. We were just talking about this through meaningful communication. Dell is a graduate of Mississippi State University with a degree in elementary education. Can't wait to hear.
Who knew we'd be in marketing 20 years down the road?
Her career has always centered around serving others. While serving as executive director of the Mustard Seed, Dell discovered a deep passion for marketing, storytelling, and outreach, helping organizations share their mission in ways that truly connect with people. Today, Dell is approaching her third year with Digio Strategies, where she helps businesses grow by building authentic relationships with their audiences through strategic communication and marketing. And beyond her professional work, Dell is a wife and a mother of 4.
That's right. That's right. We have a full house, so it's a lot of fun. I love the kids, and I love our time when our kids are with their other parents as well. So we kind of get the best of both worlds as a blended family. A lot of fun.
4 is a lot. And if I remember correctly, they're all involved in extracurricular activities.
They're all involved. But now we have a driver, so it's a little bit easier. You know, when you get a driver, some things kind of change, and that's very helpful.
I remember, well, I've known you for a while, but I remember the Alliance leadership group that we were in together, and Dell would be like, okay, I have to be at this school by this time, this school by this time, and this school by this time, so I'm going to have to leave a little early.
That's right, and if one thing went wrong, it just threw the whole timing off. So things had to be planned, and time management has to be my second nature, because if I don't, I can't get it all done. But I love that kind of stuff.
You are so organized, though.
I try to be. And in being a working mom, definitely you have to be organized, and just to make sure that everything flows, you have time for your family, that you get dinner ready and made before you go to work, or you at least have it planned. It's just constantly making sure that things in your day go well so you can get as much done, but then also have valuable time with the ones you love.
So with that many kids, tell me what a day in the life of Dell looks like. This should be interesting.
Well, so it just kind of depends. I do get up about 6 o'clock. My husband actually brings coffee to me, which is kind of a nice, fun, spoiled rotten thing. And then after we have coffee, I'll get up, and that's when I'm the most productive. I can have my devotion and my Bible study. I can water the plants. I can do something creative if I'm trying to do it. If I need to sell some of the kids' clothes or whatever it is, whatever's on tap around the house, I get most of that done before I ever leave for work in the morning. Get dinner planned, get the menu for the week planned, whatever needs to happen. That's my organizational time.
So then do you take all of the kids to school?
Well, some days I take kids to school. I'll tell you what was really nice is when we were down the street from one of our schools, and I would help that child, and we'd walk to school. And that was a lot of fun, just to have that extra time and a little exercise in the morning. And then I get out and I get to work, and I'm in the car constantly going to different businesses, going to networking events, and trying to really just help push the name of Digio Strategies out there to the community so that new businesses who may need assistance know where to go and who to find. So I'm from one event to the next, from one client to the next, and then around 2:30 sometimes it's got to pick up kids and keep working while I'm doing it. You know, I'm one of those that has the computer in the car while I'm sitting in line. So there's never a dull moment trying to make sure that it all gets done. And then, you know, my kids are a little bit older now, so they're not quite as dependent on transportation for every little thing. And that does free up some time, which is great. So then I need to either get them where they need to be and work in the meantime. I mean, there's so many days I've sat in the way back of the car during baseball practice or whatever and work. And that's a lot of, the way you can be a working mom is to be able to just get it in when you can. And so I do try to make the best of that use of my time for sure. Then we get home. My husband gets home around 5:30 or so and get dinner together. We'll figure out whatever an evening activity is, whether there's a practice or something going on or getting ready for the next day. Sometimes get some exercise in. I love working in the yard. So if it's pretty, and these days when the sun's up longer, it's nice to be able to get in the yard after work and get some things done. So I enjoy being outside. Sometimes I can put my book in and listen to a book on my earbuds and get so much done in the yard. It's my therapy.
So pulling weeds is your therapy?
Oh, I love it. No, really, pulling weeds is great, yes. But my therapy is growing flowers or some small vegetables. My family doesn't love vegetables. Whose does, I guess. So I really am a tomato and cucumber girl so that I can make it into tomato sauce and pickles. I love making pickles and giving them away. Herbs, things like that are fun. And then flowers. Flowers are my go-to. I want something that I can cut and put in vases and give away. Makes me happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I don't like vegetables, so I have to agree with probably
with my
your kids on
children.
that one. Yeah.
Now, I will say I did lettuce this winter, and that was really fun. I constantly had lettuce to eat and add to salads. And it's so much better than store-bought lettuce every day. I love it.
That is so cool.
I think I'll do it again.
I need to taste some of your fresh lettuce.
Yes. I'll bring you some next time. I'll throw some in a Ziploc. Make it happen.
You were talking about the weeds. I was actually reading a book this morning. When I first get up, I do my devotion, but I also do a chapter in like some kind of motivational book. And today's chapter was talking about weeding your garden.
Your spiritual garden.
Yes. And it was talking about even the fact of like literally if you're weeding a garden, if you wait for weeks, then it is such a chore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you weed a few minutes every day,
That's great.
Then think about, the end results of that.
Yeah. And just a little bit every day. It's not quite as daunting of a task. And I think that's a little bit too of just trying to manage a little bit of everything that I do during any particular day. There's not 5 hours out of a day, for example, that is a chunk of one activity. So it's kind of dabbling and making sure a little bit of everything happens. And I love doing creative things as well. So I kind of throw some of that in my day and doing different volunteer things with the church. So again, that morning time that I have is really valuable to me to be able to get some of those other things done and just a little bit at a time.
And you are so creative. That made me think back to the blue pumpkins.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
For the We Will Go luncheon.
God.
You
Yes.
did how many of those things?
Oh gosh, my husband could probably tell you the exact number. But it was like 160 something and we Mod Podged them. It was super fun. Super fun. Some of those were good from afar and far from good, right? But it's okay.
They all looked wonderful to me. I just remember sitting next to you and you were like, do you want to help? And I was like, you really don't want me to help.
I think that's when somebody says, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? That might be one of my weaknesses is I would rather just do it and do it myself, even though that's really not what I should do. I should share the love, and I should get help and delegate some things. But it's sometimes I'm like, I'm such a perfectionist. I just want to do it my way. So,
well, they looked fabulous, but it was a lot of them to do. I was just like, oh my gosh, that had to take her like hours and hours and hours.
Well, and I'll tell you something funny. One of our middle children, she was picking out dresses for homecoming. I think it was homecoming or anyway, some dance that they had at the school. And it was a blue toile fabric, exactly like the pumpkins. And so as we were trying to decide what dress it was, my husband kept saying, you should wear the pumpkin dress. So we will always remember We Will Go Ministries and the pumpkins that we did.
Well, you are so sweet and you volunteer for so many organizations. I mean, you have such a big heart.
I do. I try to be in as many places and help as many as I can. And sometimes I think I don't realize that I'm doing it. I just want to be involved and be where I can be of service. And I think being at the mustard seed really helped me to see that in myself and be able to constantly give and help others in the best way I can. Sometimes that's my family. Sometimes that is a coworker. Sometimes that is a special needs ministry, whoever it is, the church. Any way that I can help just really brings me joy. And I think what we put into life, we get out triple fold, and later on. And I think that's kind of my motto that I've somewhat started adopting, I guess you could say, is just to put more in and see what it flourishes into, the flowers that it grows.
That's right. I love that. I had, when I was district governor for this group, my whole thing, of course, was give more, get more.
It's very true. Give more, get more. And just think, I know we started this conversation with the flowers, and just think about it. One little seed can produce a flower that then drops another seed that produces another. And I think that's how it works. And that's how just the power of giving to others, it multiplies. And people see you doing it and want to join. And then that just helps that ministry that you're helping or whoever you're working with. So We Will Go is very special to me, but so is the mustard seed. The mustard seed will always have a big place in my heart. And through the mustard seed, I realized I loved the marketing and the sales and the networking and trying to get out there and spread that mission, which now in turn has turned into helping businesses spread their mission, their business, whatever they're selling or doing, and trying to help others know about it and then believe in them and come and buy from them. That's the goal.
You were such an amazing executive director for the mustard seed. You really were.
I had a great time.
Oh, they are so precious. And you have the biggest heart. I would
You're
love
sweet.
to come just volunteer and
Mhm.
hang out with them for a little while. And it was so much fun.
It really is. If you have never been around individuals with Down syndrome, particularly all special needs, but their heart is so big. And at our church now, we have a ministry called Sunbeams, and we serve really our kids, more so serve alongside those with special needs and help them during the service, help them during Sunday school, their buddies, their friends, and they are engaging. They, being our typically developing children, are engaging in serving these individuals with extra abilities, as we like to say.
That is so sweet. What a wonderful
It's
ministry.
amazing. It's amazing. And, God's really working in their hearts and teaching them more than they realize. And then now they're going to grow up, and this is second nature to help others. Special.
That is so awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I always love the mustard seed. They have the best gifts.
They do. They have fabulous stuff. And again, that's kind of where I really started getting into marketing and coming up with the products and then pushing it out and letting people know about it and getting, whether it's social media posts or the website, different ways that we could push that product. And it helped me realize there's a lot in networking and getting names out there, and there's a lot in advertising. There's a lot in pushing products and things. And it's a scary place for some business owners to be. Like I tell people all the time, you do insurance, I'll promote you, or you do real estate, I'll promote you, whatever the business is. And that, I think people try to do too much and let the experts do that one thing. You're the expert in whatever your field is, and you do you.
That's right. I love that. You do you.
You do you. And let me help you.
So tell me exactly what all do you do at Digio Strategies? We haven't really discussed that
Is the
yet.
list shorter to say what we don't do? No, just kidding.
Probably.
No, it is absolutely wonderful. To be straight up honest, I'll do whatever Clay Holiday says is something that needs to happen, because working for a family business and the generations of family in radio that the Holiday family has is just special. And I want to be a part of whatever that family is doing. And so I appreciate being able to help and serve in whatever way. So a day in the life of a marketing strategist, I guess is the best way to say that. We're going to make sure our clients, A, are getting what they need. Are we staying on budget with what they need? Are we getting the message out whether that is through radio, through Dark Horse Press, our news outlet, or through digital. We've got lots of different ways that we can help get a message out there. And a lot of times that mixes in with multiple ways. So we're not only going to have radio, but we may also have Dark Horse or have digital all in one if it's something that the budget will allow. And honestly, there's plenty of times where I'm mixing in and suggesting to them, hey, don't forget about other traditional media, your outdoor billboards, your broadcast news stations, all these other ways that you can also get things out there. So we want our businesses to succeed. How does that look? That's what my goal is trying to help them succeed, because if they don't succeed, our community doesn't succeed. So we want to push that out there. Sometimes that's putting orders in. Sometimes that's making sure that a commercial is right, that we have a time-sensitive commercial. Does it need to be rewritten and recut? We can make sure that happens. Make sure the voiceover that they want done is done and is the voice that they want. So we really try to cater to what the needs of our clients are.
So have you had any particularly challenging clients that if they're salespeople that are listening, you can give them some words of wisdom on that?
Gosh, well, you never want to say, oh, this person was a problem. No, I've had some phenomenal clients, and some that have brought a stronger challenge than others, and some that have been more fun than I ever would have dreamed. And I started almost 3 years ago, and I've got clients who have been with me since the very beginning. Some that, maybe were frustrated with what they were doing and the media that they were getting at the time. And I met them at networking events and brought them on in, and now we've been working together for a long period of time. So that's a special thing when I see and realize some of these that have gotten in with me and have stayed. And that's an honor to be able to help them. Of course, I think my nonprofit mindset comes out a lot. And so I do work with several nonprofits. And again, the holiday family and being able to understand the value of what Mississippi has and how we can use the power of radio and the power of digital and news to then push out some of the work that these nonprofits are doing. To me, that's a huge honor to be able to help them in ways that maybe they can't, afford to do, and let us come alongside and help. So that's something fun that I do. I think that maybe is sometimes a problem if you want to give away the world and do it all for not very much money. But again, just helping those in our community to thrive, whether they are a profit or a nonprofit.
Because you have such a big heart. And I know that your clients absolutely just love and adore you.
Well, you're sweet. You're sweet. Maybe when I show up with cookies from Broad Street or some flowers from the yard, maybe they really do. But yeah, I want to not only be a friend and be an advisor in certain ways, but then guide them in ways that would hopefully increase their business. And if something isn't working for them, that's not because targeted display is a bad product or a particular radio station is a bad product. It's really because it just didn't work for them. So let's step back, let's pivot, let's see what we can make happen and do the best we can, again, to get the business pushed through and thriving. That's our goal. So it's not a fix it and forget it type business. It's an ebb and flow. And sometimes certain seasons and certain months of the year, a particular product, maybe targeted display, is what's perfect for them. But then at Christmas time, being on Mix 98.7, the Christmas station is the best place for them. So we're going to, again, ebb and flow with what the client needs and where our listeners are, where the people are that they need in their business, and we're going to help them find them.
You mentioned Clay Holiday. I think he is amazing.
Yes. Have you had him in here before?
I have not.
Oh, I think we should.
We probably need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I
we
think
could get
we
the whole
should.
family. Yeah. Get all the.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We had a small radio group kind of Zoom call the other day, just like, hey, what are some issues that our, smaller radio stations have?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can we collaborate and talk about these? And he's just so knowledgeable.
Mm-hmm. He is.
About everything.
He is. Between his brother, what their dad did, and then now Clay's sons and daughter kind of coming alongside and helping to grow the business. And Brian Holiday, Clay's son, is real instrumental in helping to push our digital side even stronger than it already is. And that's great to just have the cheerleader behind us, helping us have the right products to be able to sell to our clients.
So, talking about digital,
Mm-hmm.
explain to if someone is listening and they don't really understand the digital concept, like what does that mean exactly?
Well, they cannot understand it today, learn it tomorrow, and then they don't understand it the next day because it changes so fast. Digital is ever evolving. It is our way that we can say, okay, insurance company, what demographic of individual by income, by gender, by area of town, geographical demographic, where and who are you wanting to target? Who do you do business with, and who would you like to do business with? And then with digital, we can really go straight to those people, whether it's streaming television, and that's if you're on Netflix or Amazon Prime, I mean, any ESPN, any of the streaming services that we all watch and see. Now, there are times when your broadcast television is on a streaming service like Fubo, and your broadcast commercials are going to be on there, your APT, LBT, all those stations. And then, but we're hitting them on all the streaming. So streaming television, then we can get them streaming audio. If they are on a podcast, if they're listening to a station on Pandora and they don't pay for no commercials, that can be a spot that we're able to feed commercials to them. On our phones, we're hit all the time with commercials and ads on our phones. So let's get your ad, whoever the business is, in front of those people, whether it's on phones, on televisions, or in their earbuds. We can do that. We can stream on billboards. We can stream, those ads at the gas station pump. Those are ads that we can feed, and we can get the message. Again, if it's the right person that you're trying to attract, and that's where they are, let's feed them there and get it. So really anywhere and everywhere. And it's kind of fun now to watch for digital ads, whether you're on your phone or just listening to earbuds as I'm working in the yard or doing whatever. I shouldn't say nobody. Fewer and fewer people are paying for the service with no ads because we stream and have services every time we turn around. And I think we can just $5.99 it to death. And now we're spending an untold amount of money. So a lot of people are receiving the ads now on streaming services. So that's one thing that I really, really like about digital is that we can pinpoint exactly who those people are. And then, of course, every business has a website or needs a website. And those are big ways that we can come in and help people. I think a lot of people, back when I guess we were graduating from college way back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a website, you could just build your own website and post it, and there it was. And it's not the case anymore. You have to have your search engines that are constantly doing the right work behind the scenes to make sure you're noticed, make sure people can search you and find you. And everybody has and needs a website. So you're constantly battling everybody on the World Wide Web. And so that's something that Digio Strategies can come alongside and really take that guesswork out of it for the business owner. And that's a done deal. We're taking care of your website. We're making sure it's running. We're making sure all the links are working and that people can find you. When you go out and do the advertising and send them to your website, can they find you? And that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize can quote unquote break is things in websites, backlinks, things that make it go round.
And it really is so important. And it's interesting when I'll look up a business and I go to their website and it hasn't been updated in forever.
Yes. And you're like, well, next. And you do. You go to the next one. And sometimes it's just not updated with information, but it looks good. And you don't really realize it. But then sometimes you go to it and you're like, is this from 1998? Because it looks very antiquated. And then you also can go to some and they have too much. It's just too much going on. So your website really speaks for people. It's the window shopping as well. People used to make sure that everything looked good, first impression. Well, that website is your first impression for a lot of people. And the other part of that is you might Google insurance company near me and 17 show up, but your business is 18 and it's on page 2 or page 3 of Google and nobody's ever going to find it. So how can we help you to get up to the top and make sure that people search and you can find you? It's a big game out there in the internet, and it's kind of frustrating if you're a business owner. Not as easy as it used to be. So we want to take that frustration out and really do the hard work and do the behind the scenes work. We're constantly looking out for what's best for our clients. I had our team call me today and say, hey, this business, if they wanted to sell some of their product on their social media, I really think that that would increase some of their sales. And this is how much we would charge to put it all together and make it work. And now they're doing it. And so that was our team going and saying, this would really help them. We're constantly watching analytics, watching numbers, making sure things are running right. Again, behind the scenes for our clients, because their talent is in whatever their business is.
So if you're watching those numbers and you're like, whoa, that's not doing exactly what we thought, then you would reach back out to them and say, hey, I think we need to tweak this and change this a little bit.
And here's our suggestion. And sometimes that's just, the market ebbs and flows. It's kind of like your investments. You don't want to look at them every day, but if you look at them at the end of the year, you're like, okay, that was good. So we don't want to make and have a knee-jerk reaction right off the bat. We want to give enough time to make sure that ads are being fed and that there's engagement in whatever the ads are, and make sure it's benefiting the business for sure. If it's not, we're going to give a suggestion. Sometimes it's for less money. Sometimes it's for more. Mostly we're going to try to make sure it stays right at that same budget and try to offer them something that is another option in a way that we can try.
I think that would be so fun. It's kind of like a puzzle.
It is.
What do you need to put together to make the best marketing strategy for this business?
And you know what? The best marketing strategy truly is when the business owner trusts us and says, help me be better than what I am today. Help me to get my message or my product out to the community. How do you suggest? When a client comes in and says, well, I want this, 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 and this, and we're going, that might not be what's best. Nope, that's what I want. Those are not as successful as when they truly trust and bring us alongside in their partnership to grow their business. Because again, we want our clients to succeed, so they'll keep doing business with us, but also ultimately so our community and our state grow.
And I bet you have made some really good friends.
Absolutely. Business owners that I've done business with outside of work, friends that I've met, friends that I've known for a very long time who are really doing great work out there and have called me and said, hey, can you come alongside us and help us with advertising? To me, everybody's a friend. I want to be a friend. I want to help others, have a good chit chat. Just enjoy time with everybody. So friendships are huge in personal lives, but also in business. And I think I get a lot of that from networking events. Our community is strong with networking, and that's a benefit. We can all bring in new members, help new businesses to succeed and find new customers. And that's not just in advertising, that's also in networking through the different chambers and the different small groups that we're both a part of, in ways, again, that we can push the message.
I was just about to ask you, what kind of networking events do you recommend?
Oh, gosh. One that you can be consistent in going to, I think is huge because, again, like we started a while ago with some questions, the more you put into it, you can get back out trifold. And I think that really comes in with networking events. If you're a onesie twosie, I'm going to show up to this one once or twice, it's not going to be as effective as if you jump on that committee that's going to help with the annual golf tournament or the luncheon, whatever it is. Get out there and help. And you'll really start to see the benefits because people see your hard work and they want you to work hard for them as well. And I think that's a big part of success is hard work, but being with others and helping that they need to see that you'll work for them too.
I'm such a huge proponent of that. I always say, like, for the chambers, you can't just write a check. You have to
Mhm.
be involved. And
Mhm.
it's always, even any, junior league, or We Will Go, or the Heart Association, Cancer Society, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, all of those groups that you're a part of and you're really a part of them, I always say I make the best
That's
friends that I
right.
have for life as a
That's right.
result of that. And I would have never met them.
That's right. And when you're working alongside them, you really learn a lot about them. So I did my junior league time. I don't remember how old you have to be to get into the junior league, but I started that year because I grew up third generation. It was, you're going to do this. And I did. I made a lot of really good friends who I now, however many years later, those are some of my clients, and those are some of the people that I'm reconnecting with, or maybe they've just opened a business and they're like, Dell, she was phenomenal on the mistletoe committee or whatever it was, or I remember meeting her. Let me call her. So you just never know the connections that you're going to make later in life or tomorrow. So always keep your head on a swivel and try not to make too many enemies.
Isn't that the truth?
Right.
But I was going to say, I bet as a result of, I'm quite certain, as a result of everything that you have volunteered for, how in return you've received clients as a result of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And those days when you're like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I spending hours and hours on whatever the volunteer activity
Oh,
is?
blue pumpkins.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But you just never know. You never know what connection's going to be made and what connection's going to turn back and benefit you, whether it's in your personal life and it's a relationship that's going to benefit you, or a business relationship in a way that you're going to grow because of that friendship and that connection. So I'm constantly wanting to meet people. We were joking when we first got here about the name game and the connections and making sure that you constantly kind of are like, oh, I know that person and that person's this and, whatever. It's big. It's Mississippi. It's the South. That's another thing that I think really sets Digio Strategies apart. We've been here. We're in our third generation almost of, or not almost, we are, of owners. And we're from Mississippi. And we know the community. We know the behaviors of the community. We know the areas of town to hit certain demographics, so whoever the business is wanting to hit, or who's going to travel, 30 miles to go to this type of business, or who's not. We've been here. This is our home. This is our lifestyle. And I think that sets us apart from other businesses at times when they're not from here. They're not here, period. So stay local, stay Mississippi.
That's right. Were you ever nervous, like a little bit, like going from the mustard seed where you had been, constant for quite a few years, and then you're
12.
like, oh, I'm going to start this whole new career? Which, I mean, you were still doing marketing previously,
Yeah.
but were you nervous at all?
Yes, no. I don't know. Actually, when I knew that I was leaving the mustard seed, I texted Jan Michaels, who had interviewed me plenty of times. She and Kim Allen had, let me come and interview for the mustard seed, and were always so kind. And I just texted her. I said, do you know anybody looking for anything? And she said, well, we might be. You want to come? And so I knew that God was really pushing me to Digio Strategies and to a new career and a little bit of a different swing. So was I nervous? Maybe. But you have that beginning time when you open your computer and there's nothing on it. I didn't have any emails. I didn't have folders to organize things in. And it's like, okay, clean slate. How do I do this? Where do I start? What am I doing? But I quickly have a full inbox and thousands of folders in the computer to file things under. And it's great. It is absolutely wonderful. So, yeah, a little bit of nerves maybe, or a little bit of uneasiness. But you've known me long enough to know I don't really get very nervous. I just jump in and do it. Sometimes you might have to nudge me and be like, Del, stop talking.
No, you do. And you're always, I remember the program of the Alliance. You were always so sweet and you were always willing to help like every solitary person around the table. You're like, well, I can help you with this and I can help your
Mhm.
group with this.
Mhm.
I was
It's
like, she's
fun.
just the sweetest.
But, that kinda goes back to what I was saying too. It's like a little of this and a little of that, and then end of the day, I'm like, "Hold on, wait, I may have said yes to a lot of different things." I'm not very much a no person, and who you we both are in the same boat, but I enjoy it, and I think that at the end of the day is what matters. If you enjoy what you're doing, by all means, keep rolling.
I know it makes my heart happy to volunteer for
Me
things.
too.
I can't help it. It's just who I am.
Me too. Me too. Now, at the same time, I'd love to go walking at the end of every night instead of like, okay, let me button this up or finish this for this volunteer job or church or whatever it is. But that's a heart that I want to do that. And I want to help serve the church and serve the schools and that kind of thing. As your kids get older, you don't have as many events at the school to do. So I'm filling my time in different places. And it's kind of a fun thing to figure out what's next.
I bet you have some really fun parties at the radio station, like your Christmas parties and stuff. Are they so fun? I mean, you have such an eclectic group
We do.
that
We
works
do.
there.
We do. We have a little bit of everybody. And then when you get spouses involved, you get even more fun personalities and, people like Fisher Alexander and Tracy Lee that can just crack a joke that's not even meant to be a joke and everybody's dying laughing. It's a lot of fun. We have great individuals. And again, I know I've probably beat the dead horse, but they believe in our community and they want it to thrive. And so they're just, they love what they do and they do such a good job at it. And that shows. So you're right in the sense of all these different personalities, but ultimately everybody has the same goal in mind. And that's to grow the business, grow the community, grow other people's businesses. I've got so many of our on-air personalities that'll call or text and say, "Hey, what about such and such for this business? Or isn't this business yours? What if we did a promotion and ran it for that business?" Whatever. So they're trying to constantly help us as marketing strategists and help our clients to grow. And that's huge. We really, truly have our on-air personalities right there, not only in our back pocket to help if something's needed, but they're right there cheerleading for us and with us and for our clients.
What a great team.
Yes, it's a great team. And it makes for a lot of fun when we're at the radio station. Of course, I can't meet new people and do the next, sale if I'm in the office all the time. So I try to be out and about and in the community, meeting with people and going to them as much as I can.
I'm thinking about students in college.
Yes.
It's always so interesting to me when we have our MAB day on campus. And I'll say, who wants to be what? And we have lots of people that at Mississippi State, a lot of meteorologists. We have a lot that want to be anchors. We have a lot that want to be sports people. And I'm always like, okay, what about salespeople? Let's talk about the salespeople because every station just about needs salespeople. It is such a huge market for them.
It is.
And they can make so much money.
Well, and I think, hindsight, now this is coming from the girl that has an elementary education degree who thought that she was going to be a teacher for the rest of her life. I think if you enjoy marketing, sales could be your job. You're constantly marketing yourself if you're in sales, yourself to then be the cheerleader for that company. So especially in this side of sales and marketing sales. So those are the kids that we want to help to see that they have potential. The go-getters, honestly, if you're a go-getter and you enjoy learning and fast-paced world, if you can self-start, if you can complete a task, those are your salespeople. Because when you're in outside sales, if you can't complete a task or stay organized or keep a calendar, sales might not be what's best for your career. So I think really using college and using the couple of years after college even to really kind of figure out who you are and what you enjoy. I will say our high schools in Mississippi are doing a much better job than when you and I were in high school of helping to see personalities and see things that careers that may or may not be what's best for those particular kids. And I think it's guiding them in ways that we weren't necessarily guided before. And a lot of that's the advancement of technology. But I think kids can kind of know a little bit more about their personality. The other part of it is it's not the end of the world if you need to switch gears and change and do something different just to see the path that your life takes. Just because I have an elementary education degree doesn't mean I'm a failure because I'm still not teaching.
Absolutely
I think
not.
kids get stuck into that often that, well, I have to know, I have to do this, I have to do that. And you don't. Just enjoy each day and see where God takes you growth wise. And again, those relationships, if you make a relationship, keep it and keep pushing to meet new people and do new things. It'll take you places.
So, elementary education, did you start out teaching? How
did.
did we progress
So
here?
I started out teaching around my bed when I was 3, probably, and I laid all the papers out and had everything, and I was the boss. And, I think I was probably the boss of my family if you ask them. But yeah, I thought I was going to teach school for the rest of my life, and I was made to be a teacher. And I still get to do some of that, with Vacation Bible School or helping at church and things like that. The creative side, I wanted to be elementary, so I wanted all of the fun, crafty things that I could do, and that just excited me. But I'll tell you, it was 9/11 that really kind of made me go, I think I need to be out and about and moving and shaking. I'll never forget, I was teaching kindergarten, and we had to alternate going to the library with our assistant because the kids obviously didn't know what was going on, and get as much information as we could from the library television. This was before we had TVs in every classroom. We didn't have phones that had cameras and internet and things like that. So all we had was to get what the library TV had. And it just kind of claustrophobic maybe is not necessarily the word, but it had me feeling like I could be out and making an impact in the community in a different way. So I started exploring different options and what could I do to get out. Do I miss it? Some days. I don't think I'll go back. I think I can get my creativity in other ways.
I was just sitting here thinking, I bet she had the cutest door in the whole school.
That's where the other part comes in of, did I have to make the cutest door with the texture paper and my bulletin boards all had texture? And did I have to go over the top? Yeah, but no, and I think that's my personality is when I'm in something, I'm going to give it all I've got, whether it's working in my yard, whether it's working and volunteering at the church or another nonprofit, or it's at work. I'm going to give it all it's got. And we're not just going to have dinner for the Super Bowl. We're going to have football shaped cookies, and we're going to have, all the things, and we're going to make it fun. But those are the things that bring me joy. And now with teenagers and preteens, they don't care. They just want the cookie. So it doesn't have to be shaped like football. So some of the times I'm starting to slow myself down and realize I don't have to do all that, but it's fun. So yes, my room was always themed, and we had everything, just perfect, if you will, and planned out. But I thought, let me see what else I could do to kind of get out and make an impact in other ways.
I had no doubt that it was perfect because you're a little bit extra.
Right.
Just a little, which I love.
A little bit extra maybe.
But you do always give 110% in anything that you do. I've definitely seen that about you.
Well, thank you.
So one last question. You've talked a lot about planning and being organized. What are your words of wisdom to people about how to stay organized?
A calendar. Write it down. A couple of years ago, I learned about a Remarkable, and it's like a notepad that's like an iPad size. That has changed my organizational life for sure. That and a Google Calendar. Between those two, I know everything I need to know. Everything's on my phone. Maybe I should add my phone to that list. But I can get to kids' schedules. Obviously we can text, but any app, any insurance question for our dental bill or whatever it is, it's going to be in my phone. I'm going to write down notes in my Remarkable, or I'm going to have the calendar so that everybody knows what's going on. I have a weekly calendar on my refrigerator, a monthly calendar on my wall in the kitchen, and then of course my phone calendar keeps everything going. But just communication and staying organized with what's next and having enough time in the day to get those tasks accomplished, giving yourself enough time on the calendar, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then if it doesn't happen, move it to the next day. But think of the technology that we have now that we did not have in college or when our parents were raising us. And just to be able to have that technology, let's use it. There's so much out there that can really help us to stay organized. And trying to find time, if I want to listen to a podcast, a certain podcast, let's do it while I'm driving. Call my brother while I'm driving. Things like that we can just find the best times while I'm in the yard, make those phone calls.
It's interesting that you said the Remarkable. So I got a Remarkable and I was like, I don't like it. I didn't like the way that when you write on it, the way it felt. That's probably weird. But I even tried different styluses and everything. And I was like, this is not working for me. And then we were in D.C. for Hill visits last week. And one of the staffers in one of the offices had his Remarkable. And he was talking about how great it was. And I was like, I just could not. I just didn't like it. And it was so interesting because he said that he had ordered his like in June of last year. And he said, I actually sent it back because I was like, I do not like the way this feels. And then they reached back out to him and said, hey, we have a new one and we'll trade yours out for a new one and you can try this. And he was like, it is a huge difference. So apparently the new ones came out around November-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I absolutely love it. So I was over there going, may I see that? Can I write on it real quick? Just let me see.
Have you ordered one yet?
It was a difference.
Yeah, they're amazing. You can organize your notes in folders. I have like a church folder, and then inside of my church folder, I have all the books that we've studied at church, or I have a clients folder, and then each client has a folder inside of that. What I love about it is in the world of work, let's say I talk to somebody in August and they're like, hey, great meeting, whatever, call me back in December. So I put it in my Google Calendar to call them back in December. So in December, I call them back and voila, all of the notes that we talked about are right there in my Remarkable. I'm not hunting for a folder, a physical folder. I'm not hunting for a piece of paper. It's all there. Notes about a conversation. It can all be right there in the client's folder. So it really helps me to stay organized. I don't mind how it feels when you write it. I think it's a lot better than an iPad, but you have to like it. And that's what I'll tell anybody. You can hear organizational things, even the work that you do with time management. You can hear time management from somebody, but until you adopt it as your own and that's what works for you, it's not going to work. And so people need to really come into their own on organization and making sure that their life and their family and their work all stay organized. That's you. Again, you do you, and I think once we all kind of realize what helps to make us tick, we're rolling.
That is so true.
Take advice from others, though, but
Yes. It's so funny when you say you do you. The book that I was telling you that I was reading, that was the motivational book. She always says, you do you, boo.
You do you, boo. I like it. It's true, though. You need to figure out what works for you. And I think with the world of influencers and everything else, we all want to be somebody else. And let's go back to what we know, and that's you do you. Figure out ways that you need help or ways that you can be organized or ways that bring you joy and energy and make them happen.
That is right. Okay, I love that way to end. You do you, boo.
You do you, boo. I like it. Thanks so much for having me, Amanda. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
I had to wait for